If you just got your hands on the brand new Apple Watch, if it's either the Series 8 or the SE2, I'm going to go ahead and show you a handful of settings to definitely adjust and enable to unlock additional features that your device can do. So if you're just upgrading from an older Apple Watch to a new one, or this is your first Apple Watch, you're going to definitely get a lot of usage out of this video. Let's go ahead and begin. Now for this video demonstration, we are using the brand new Series 8 Apple Watch, but don't worry, if you have the SE2, all these settings will also apply, minus the always on display. I'll cover that in a little bit. So first things first, after you already set the size, text and stuff to your own personal preference, if you have regrets, you want to change it, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You could easily have access to it to readjust it one more time. Instead of going into your settings, you can actually pop up Control Center, scroll all the way down and tap Edit, and scroll down till you see the text size. In case you don't have it, you can add it here or remove it, and you can also rearrange it to your personal preference. But by tapping on the text size, using the digital crown, you can easily adjust it and it will be labeled default if you want to go back to the default size. Now, if you wish to bolden the text even more, you can do that. Unfortunately, you do have to go into the settings and go into display and brightness, and right below the text here's where you can actually tap and bold your text outlines. Now our Apple Watch is jam-packed with a lot of unique features, one of which is in the settings. If you scroll all the way down, you can find a hand washing. Here, by enabling this will automatically start a 20-second timer, and you'll automatically feel haptic feedback once the 20-second timer is done, and the Apple Watch will reward you with some cool animation and will also notify you if you were too short. Now we scroll all the way up in the screen and brightness one more time. This is where you can actually adjust the brightness of your display. And for my personal experience, there's no need to have it at max. I noticed the display is pretty much always visible, even outside in broad daylight. And if you scroll all the way down, this is where you go find the always on display settings. So if you don't like the always on display function, you can turn it off right here. Unfortunately, this is not available on the SE Apple Watch. In addition to that, if you do like it, but you like to prevent people from seeing your notifications and such, if you scroll down where it says wrist down, show data complication, by disabling this, now whenever you have your wrist down, it's not going to show your complication to the next person next to you. It will only become visible once you raise your wrist and are viewing the display. And down here you can actually enable it and disable it if there's a select amount of apps you want to show this information or not. So I will disable activity if I don't want my activity rings to show, but all the other ones, yes. Now if we go back and look down, notice you could do the exact same thing with show notifications, and you could do the same thing with the show apps, which the brief summary is you can choose which app are visible when your wrist is down. Let's go ahead and backtrack a bit more. If you scroll down where it says wake duration, you can actually increase the duration of the Apple Watch if you wanted to maximize it. The max is 70 seconds, so now whenever you tap on the display should stay on for at least 70 seconds. But now if we go back to the grid view, if you don't like this grid view, if you long press one to blink spaces, you can actually toggle list view. So you can find everything in alphabetical order. In addition to that, if there's an app you just don't like, you can either slide to delete like so, or if you long press, you can tap edit. You can also delete it this way as well. Note, some of these native apps are unable to be deleted, unfortunately, and there's no clever way to hide them. Unfortunately, I wish we had a hide function. But there is a method that you can actually delete some of these apps without deleting the apps on your iPhone. If you scroll all the way down and you select the app, you can actually disable it right here. But this deletes the app on the Apple Watch because if we go down, we can re-download it. And if you see more and more apps coming down here, that just means you have an app on your main iPhone that can also be installed with the Apple Watch version on your Apple Watch if you wish. You can just tap install and it will just install right away. So with that said, let's say for example you install an app on your iPhone, but there's also an app for the Apple Watch version. It will automatically install. If you want to prevent that from happening, all you got to do is just go into general and just go ahead and turn off automatic app download. And now your Apple Watch won't get cluttered with a bunch of random apps. Now since we're here, I might as well talk about airplane mode. Was airplane mode enabled? If you have mirror iPhone, when this is on, whenever you turn on airplane mode on your iPhone, it'll automatically toggle it on your Apple Watch and vice versa. If you don't like this to happen, you could disable it, and you can actually toggle what you want the Apple Watch to do whenever airplane mode is enabled. So disable Wi-Fi and disable Bluetooth. And if we go back, focus mode, you can do the exact same thing. You can allow it to actually mimic and mirror your iPhone, or you could disable it so it can do things independently. Now, handoff mode, highly recommend having this enabled. What this basically allows you to do is, if we go back to our Apple Watch, so for example, we're ready to send a text message, but this is gonna be a long one. So while on the message app on our Apple Watch, if you open up the app switcher, down here, it'll say Apple Watch. You can tap it, it'll quickly take you to the message app and you can resume. You could do the same thing and vice versa. That's what handoff mode does. Now another feature here I highly recommend having on is nightstand mode. With nightstand mode enabled, it has this cool animation, will actually display the time and will show you the current percentage of battery that the Apple Watch has. That's what that does, and then enable screenshots. This is personal preference, but if you find yourself taking a lot of screenshots accidentally by tapping the power button digital crown and filling up your camera roll, this is where you actually go in and disable that if it becomes a nuisance to you. Now going back, the dock, I recommend at least being aware that this exists. So by default, docks can be enabled by tapping the power button. This will toggle your docks. And based off the recent setting that we left it on, this is our recently open apps. But if you like to actually go back and select favorites, you can actually have a favorite list. So next time when you press that button, it's only the favorite apps you usually find yourself using mostly. So you can actually bookmark them this way as well, instead of having to find it in the grid. So with these Apple Watches, there's 3 ways to summon Siri. You could either raise your wrist and Siri will automatically start listening without having to verbally have to request Siri's name by saying that phrase, And you can also press and hold the digital crown. Now, if there's been a couple of cases where Siri just randomly appears or gets summoned unannounced, you could actually adjust this to your own personal preference. So back on the Apple Watch, go into your settings, scroll down to Siri, and here you can actually disable the hey, that function, the raise the speed, or the digital crown. You can also see your Siri history, which is quite interesting now. So this is where you can actually adjust that. So you can have it all off entirely if you just don't like Siri in general. Now by long pressing the power button, you do have access to the SOS slider right here to quickly get a hold of emergency contacts and dispatchers in case you're injured or being stalked or something, whatever emergency you need. This is how you have quick access to it without dialing 911. Then if you long press, it'll also start a 5-second timer. Mine's not doing it because it's somehow glitched. But on the SOS tab on the Apple Watch app, if you go down, you can actually edit your emergency contacts. So when this is toggled, the watch knows who to call and send a message to your exact location. And then down here, this is where you can actually go ahead and make sure that you have crash detection enabled, as well as fall detection. Now let's go ahead and hop on back onto our Apple Watch. So a setting you can still adjust is the activity. If you actually launch the activity app, if you like to adjust the calorie goals and stuff like that, you have the freedom to do so on the Apple Watch. It's easier here, I find. So if you go on the very bottom where it says change goal, you can easily adjust the calorie goal right here, your move, exercise time, as well as standing. And no, the amount of hours for standing, just stand up 1 time per hour. And once you do that, everything is updated. Now the Apple Watch can do sleep tracking, and if you do use sleep tracking, I highly recommend enabling this setting, which you can go ahead and find on the main app. Scroll down to find sleep, and right here, enabled charge reminder. Now, before you go to bed, based off your schedule, your Apple Watch will give you a notification ahead of time, letting you know to charge it, so the Apple Watch can make it throughout the entire night if this is your only Apple Watch. Now, if you like to copy my setup with the I's and O's, go into accessibility, and right here where it says on and off labels, this is what I have enabled so I can see the I and O's and know what's on and off. Aside from making my device look slightly different and easier for my viewers to know what's on and off, that's really the only reason why I have this enabled, all personal preference. Now if you receive a phone call and you don't have time to answer, you can actually cover that phone call with your hand and will actually silence the call. In addition to that, if this is a general notification or something like that, if you continue holding down, it will give you a haptic feedback, and if you look, your Apple Watch is now on silent mode. If you don't have the cover to mute ability, you could easily enable it in the settings section and go into sound and haptics, scroll down, and then make sure cover to mute is indeed enabled, and there you go. Now, as the haptic sensitivity is a little bit too light for you, you could actually increase the strength where it says haptics and by default you can select prominent, so it's even more aggressive than ever before. And then since we're here, if you scroll down, if you don't like the haptic feedback whenever you use the digital crown, you can disable it right here. Warning, it feels odd. I need this personally, so personal preference. System haptic as well, you could disable or enable that, but I really don't feel that one as much. And then right above here, you'll find headphone safety. You could actually enable the reduced sound, so if you're wearing headphones and you like to limit yourself with a certain decimal amount, it shows you a little example right here. So this will limit the headphones around 85 decibels and 95 and 100. So personal preference, you can enable this to make sure you don't go deaf anytime soon. And here you can also find your notifications. If you listen to music too loud, it will actually keep track of all the notifications and stuff. Now both the SE and the Series A, even other Apple Watches, do have noise decibel level monitoring. Just go back and look for the noise app right here in the settings. Check if you have environmental sound measurement enabled, and the Apple Watch will constantly monitor the decibel levels around you and will keep track of how long you've been exposed to it, and will send you a push notification letting you know based off the preference you selected, you've been exposed to this amount of decibel for this amount of time, and will advise you to step away, relocate, and give your ears a break before you experience any hearing damage. Now if we go back on our Apple Watch, go into settings, scroll down to calculator, here you have the freedom to select between percentage or tip function. With tip function enabled, basically this allows you to actually split the tab with a bunch of other people. And then with the percentage, it's just your standard calculator. Personal preference. Now if you like to add your medical ID to your Apple Watch by pressing and holding the power button like the SOS tab, you can slide it right here. I'll show you all the information if you like to set that up. You just have to launch the health app, and then you should be able to find it on one of these boxes right here. I just did it recently off camera, unfortunately. And just tap add medical ID and it will automatically get added to your Apple Watch. And then back in these settings for our apps, if you actually go into clock, you could actually enable chimes. Now when chime is enabled, basically on the hour, every hour, the Apple Watch will either play the sound of bells or birds. You have these two sounds to select from, and if your Apple Watch is on mute, it will actually give you a haptic feedback every hour, letting you know that an hour has gone by. And if you scroll up, here you could actually offset the Apple Watch from the main device. So if you need to give yourself a 5-minute advance notice, that's how you could do so. And if you scroll on the very bottom, speak time, when this is enabled and your Apple Watch is not on silent, by using 2 fingers, you tap anywhere on the display, Siri will verbally read out loud the time.
3:58 p.m.
Then quick tip, by double tapping the digital crown will take you back to the previously open app. And if you want a silent approach, if you scroll down to haptic time, you can enable this. You leave digital. Digital will vibrate like 2 times to tell you it's 2 o'clock, and it'll go 2 minutes. So it'll vibrate 8 minutes to tell you it's 2:08. And then if you look back, you can also select voice code as well. By using 2 fingers, it'll start vibrating right there on your wrist. And then if we go back here, if you keep scrolling down, you can find the monograph. Monograph allows you to create a custom message to some watch faces. So the California watch face is a fine example. This one supports monograph. If you select the center, you can select the personal message. So we have hi. I cover more hidden like watch faces in this video, which you can go ahead and watch, but this one's one of them that actually supports the monograph. Now let's go ahead and go back. Now the mindfulness, if you're tired of seeing that reminder, you can actually tap on the app itself and disable it right here, or adjust it to your own personal preference. And then in the workout app, in here you can actually enable it so it still works on low power mode. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Auto pause, if you ever stop running, your Apple Watch will detect that and will automatically resume back once you start running again, so resume. Start workout reminder. I like having this on because sometimes when I'm on the elliptical or some type of workout machine or just doing some type of activity, the Apple Watch will actually credit me the time in case I forgot to actually record that run. So basically the Apple Watch will notice that you're outdoor running and will credit you the time when you first started. Now if you find this side button to be too fast or too quick for you, you can also adjust the speed on that. I personally prefer using the native Apple Watch app for our iPhone right now for this. And go into accessibility, scroll down till you see side button click speed. Here you have default, slow, and slowest. So personal preference, play with it. By having the app running, you can actually click on it and make sure you can find the correct speed for you. Now if you use Apple Pay on your Apple Watch, you know by default it's required for you to have a passcode. And if you don't like entering the passcode every time when you put on your Apple Watch, you can actually allow your iPhone to unlock it as soon as Face ID or Touch ID detects you. So if you'd like to set that up, just go into the passcode section and scroll down where it says unlock with iPhone. Enable this, enter the passcode on your Apple Watch to confirm it is you. And now whenever you put on your Apple Watch and the passcode pops up, just unlock it with your Face ID with your iPhone, and it should automatically unlock your device. Now you can actually make your iPhone unlock your Apple Watch as well. To make your Apple Watch to unlock your phone, just go into your phone settings and go into Face ID and passcode, enter your password, then just go down until you find unlock with Apple Watch. Select any of the Apple Watch you'd like to select, make sure it's enabled, and now whenever you unlock your device, you will receive a notification because you do have the capability to unlock it in case somebody else unlocks it without your consent. And then it doesn't just end there. If you like your Apple Watch to unlock your Mac or your MacBook Pro, whatever computer you're using, you just have to go into System Preferences, go in Security, go into the General tab, and select the Apple Watch. And if you're on Ventura, process is slightly different, but you still have to tap on the little Apple logo right here in the corner, go into System Settings, and scroll down where you see Touch ID or Passcode, whatever device you're using. And here, if you scroll down, you'll be able to find your Apple Watch. Now, I have a bunch of them, so wish me luck. Just enable the one you want to have the capability to unlock your Mac, and it will just simply just say unlocking with Apple Watch. And there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you found this video informative and useful, you know what to do. Greatly appreciate if you actually leave this video a like, as those help me out a lot. And subscribe, especially if you enjoy a lot of tech videos just like this. As a fine example, if you'd like to find out more cool things you can do with your Apple Watch, highly recommend watching this video over here as I cover 35 tips and tricks you could do on the latest version of watchOS 9. And then that video over there, that is just a video YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Let me know in the comment section if that recommended video was something you actually were interested in. I'm trying to understand the YouTube algorithm, so let me know in the comment section if you liked it or not. Aside from that, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.